Ravi Naidu, and I'm the Managing Director of CRC Care. I'm also Chief Scientist of CRC Care, and we assess the risk that contaminants pose to human health and the environment. We develop new means or methods of detecting these contaminants, and at the same time new technologies for cleaning up the environment. At the cleanup conference we have had a whole range of presentations. Some of the presentations focused on the impact that contaminants can have on human health. We also had a session on electronic waste, particularly the dynamics of electronic waste in the environment, the volume, very large volume of electronic waste we generate, bearing in mind that that's one waste that's not going to reduce in volume. It will continue to increase in volume, sheer thirst that we have for new tools and technologies. And that is going to put, and it's already putting a lot of pressure on how we manage such waste. I think the most critical thing is that at federal level, we do not have a policy on e-waste. We do have an act on hazardous waste. It might include e-waste, but there's nothing that is separate on e-waste. So if we had something like that, then that would put more pressure on different state governments for us to see what more we can do with the recycling of e-waste. South Australia has been a lead state from prevention perspective, from recycling perspective. So I would say that we are doing quite well compared to some of the other states.
Okay. And how about in how we're dealing with the old sites, the contaminated sites?
The contaminated sites are of course dealt with the EPAs and some of the other appropriate departments. We have now a policy on contaminated sites, which means that in the last 5 years we have really accelerated the way we manage contaminated sites. It's a question of resources as well. Well, if we step back 20 years, there are very few people who really accepted that we had many contaminated sites, potentially contaminated sites. And now we know that there are many potentially contaminated sites, and they take up high value land. If you look at the resources that we had in 20 years ago and what we have now, I would have liked to have seen an exponential increase in resources. That hasn't happened. So clearly there's room for more investment in this area. For EPAs, they could do a lot better with resources.